Scrap Junkies, Copper Fiends, welcome back to the channel. So I got out of work a little bit early today. And it's nice out, so I figure might as well take advantage of the downtime. I don't have to look at any houses today, which is good. So I think I have enough to make a few bars anyway. I've been looking at the charts, the stock charts, like the bond yields and just everything together. It looks like silver's getting ready to take off, gold's taking off. Hopefully copper kind of follows. I got a bunch more silver on the way. I'm trying to get the stockpile up, man. It needs to be up a lot higher than it is. The oh shit stash. Shit hits the fan stash. I want to have less in cash and more in this stuff. If at all possible. So we're just gonna keep working at it, keep chipping away. I think we're gonna retire this guy. I think it's starting to mess up the bars more than anything. So we're gonna take out the new graphite ingot mold today. Play with her. See how she does. All right, let's go fire it up. I suppose we'll start with the brass today, because this one's all ready to go. I've got, yeah, this was like not enough to make a bar last time. All my shell casings from the range. Yeah, that's good to go. I need my gloves. No, I don't. Every time I fire up the forge, I swear to God, there's a Stady sitting across the street from my house. He's way over there. Over in that parking lot. He hasn't come over yet. He should. So we're gonna use the old, this one. We're gonna use that for the brass. I think it's the brass that's messing it up anyway. Look how nice this one is. Yeah. Save the nice one for the copper. Brass is almost ready. Needs to marinate for a little while longer. Oh my God. Takes your breath away. Every time. Take out the schmoo. Oh, shit. Slag bucket's on fire. Look at this. Fire! Look at a fire. Shit. Whoa. Smells like burnt plastic. There must have been a piece of plastic in there. the other one does all right with the brass. Crap. This stuff is hot. Oh, I might even have enough for another small bar. That's about the same. Tiny bit left. A little McNugget. All right, a couple little bars into the stash. Now we're running out of room here. Little McNugget. I like this little mold, I do. It's kind of cool. You see how it's a little uneven? Like this side is lower than the other side. So that the little cement pad that I'm doing this on is right behind this wall. And actually, this room that I'm in used to be a garage, believe it or not. And there used to be a giant garage door right here. And that's what that little cement pad is out there. So it's sloped, so I have to like shim the mold to try to get these a little more square. And the brass guy, I love that grain structure on these brass bars that have a lower zinc content. It's like you can literally see the molecules like bumping into each other and sticking to each other. And this happening before your eyes as it's cooling off. Versus, yeah. Here's a bar with a higher zinc content. And the only way I can tell is when I stir the pot with brass that has a higher zinc content, it flares up in my face when I'm stirring it. Versus a brass bar like this, I stir the pot and it doesn't flare up in my face. So that's the zinc. But brass is copper mixed with other metals, so there's many different variations of brass. All right, let's see if we can't make sense of these charts. So this is the 30-year U.S. Treasury bond yield. Every candle on this chart is 1 month. This is the 80s, pretty much from when I was born till now. We've been in this downtrend. And this is the way I understand bonds. The big money, the big players, when the stock market or the economy is shaky, it doesn't look good, right? The big players will pull their money and they'll start putting it into bonds because it's safer. And they'll at least get that 5% or whatever it is on there, or 4% or whatever on their money. It's safe, you know what I mean? They put it in there. But when the economy is not shaky and things are looking good, the big money pulls the money from bonds and they'll start throwing it into stocks. You know, it drives new innovation. It gets the economy going because there's money flowing, there's money exchanging hands, and it all trickles down to the poor in one fashion or another. But you see that we have a clear break in structure. Like we've got a bullish swing break. We've retested there. It's pushing higher. This is actually looks like it's correcting right now for potentially another push up. Man, if this is the start of an uptrend, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but let's just say that it was the start of an uptrend. Yeah, I want to try to protect myself the best I can. Look at this. This is the 10-year Treasury bond, and this one actually gives us way more data for whatever reason. This goes all the way back to 1913. So here's the Great Depression, right in this area. And you can see after, the bonds just climb. So that looks like it must have been a painful time period. Then in the 80s, it topped out. And think about all the stuff that happened from the 80s till now. How much like technology and just how fast everything has grown. But you see here, same thing. There's a big break in structure here. Again, if this is the start of an uptrend, it's not going to be pretty. We don't know if that's going to happen for sure. But look, this is the monthly chart. Yeah, we have the 200-day. This red line is the 200-day moving average on the monthly chart, and we're above that. Yikes! But you know what? I really do. I hope that this just comes back down, and this was just a spike, and it comes back down, and it just continues to, funnel its way down. But I just don't see how. I don't see how it can just, because we already tapped. Look at this. Here's 0. We were actually below 0 for a little bit, and it just spiked up. So I don't, can this go negative? That doesn't, negative interest rates? That, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Who would put, it just seems like there's some shit coming. Because something has to happen. Look at gold. Look at this. This is the third time that we've hit the $2,000 level. We had a false break back here, another false break here. We had this push down, another push down, and this is the third time. Maybe third time's the charm. This thing looks like it's getting ready to rip. And see, this is the only thing that's kept me from buying gold, because I remember just a few weeks ago, we were down to the $1,800 level, and I'm like, okay, let me go get a, like a gold maple leaf or something. A 1-ounce gold coin. And even when we're at 1,800, the coin's selling for 1,900. It's like $100 over spot. Now when you're at 1,900, it's 2,000. Then when you're at 2,000, it's like 2,100. It's just that seems like a lot of premium to pay, but it does move kind of fast. I don't know. I'm hedging my bets with silver and copper for now. So silver, look at this. I even called this out. This looks like a big bull flag. Price came down. This was support, then resistance, broke through, now became support, and we're pushing. So hopefully this will break through and head on up to the upside. Copper is fighting this $4 level still, man. Yeah, we were above $4 here for a while. Then we broke to the downside, found support at 325, started to look like a bear flag, but then we broke through to the upside, then came down correctively onto the $4 level. Now it looks like it's acting as support. We got a nice bullish weekly candle so far. Still got a couple days for this to finish. If we break out of this little flag here, this is going. We might be up in the $5 range very, very soon. This is why I want to hold on to copper, my brass, much longer, because I think it's going. Look at this. Gold. GLDG. This gold stock is up almost 7.5% today after the Fed meeting. I mean, everything else is down. Bitcoin started to tear here, but again, I'm waiting for Bitcoin to hit 10,000. Once it hits 10,000, I'm game. I'll find $1,000 to put into Bitcoin when we hit 10K. We had this nice little rally, and it was enticing, like, oh, it's going. But as soon as you get in, we found resistance here. I believe this is coming back down, and we will hit 10,000. So I'm going to wait patiently on the Bitcoin. Yeah, I would get Doge, just because Doge is, you can actually use it to buy things now, and it has to do with Elon Musk. So anything that has to do with Elon Musk, I'm game. Yeah, I would get Doge if it was the Ethereum network. Otherwise, Bitcoin is it to me, because it's proof of work. You can't screw with it. It's the most sound, safe, decentralized version of money I think there is. So the charts say that silver is in high demand, and I can actually prove that it's in high demand. So I ordered. Usually, if I order from SD Bullion, it takes 2 to 3 days for the payment to clear, and then once the payment clears, I usually have it. Like if I order on a Monday, I'll have the shipment in my hands by Thursday or Friday, the latest. So 1 week, so Monday to Friday, and I usually have, whatever I ordered. But this time I ordered on a Sunday, and it's been an entire week since I ordered it, and they're saying it's going to be another 3 to 5 business days because of the high demand for gold and silver right now. It's getting crazy out there. So I like to follow the money, and I think you guys should do this too. Never take anyone's word for anything these days. I don't take anyone's word unless I know you and I trust your judgment. But I like to watch, I go on YouTube and I like to watch the Senate hearings. I like to watch them all the way through, not just a little. I know a lot of times they'll just pick out clips, which is fine, but I like to watch the entire thing. I like to see both sides arguing back and forth and seeing what exactly are they talking about. I mean, it's getting scary. It's getting really scary. I see Silicon Valley Bank went under, and all of these people bum rushed the bank, trying to take their money out. And then you see that the FDIC, if all of these banks start collapsing, I don't think that they have the money to bail everyone out. That's the thing. And there's plenty of videos circulating about the meetings that they've had, which doesn't look good. So just to clarify, I'm not saying go and remove all of your toilet paper. This one actually has a brown stain on it. Did somebody actually... No, that's not poop. Yeah, I'm not saying go and remove all of your money. Do I think every single bank is going to fail? I don't think so. I mean, I hope not. But again, I'm not a professional, and I'm just trying to play it safe. That's all. So I have a buddy that went to his bank to get $10,000 in cash because he wanted to buy a truck. I don't know what bank he has, but he said he walked in, and he did actually walk out with $10,000 in cash. But he said they were scrambling to try to get the money. He said he walked out with $10,000 in 25s and ones. Are you kidding me? So I'm like, okay. I like to see things for myself. So I wanted to see my bank, which is worldwide. They're not just in the United States. I walked in there and I was like, yo, give me the cash. And they were like, okay, no issues. Not yet anyways, right? So this is the beauty of YouTube too, is we can kind of share back and forth, and I follow people from all over the world, and I can see, people's experiences from the UK. I have, my friends, my personal friends that have gone into the bank to withdraw money, and you start to see that some people are having issues right now, some people are not. And I guess from what I see, the only saving grace in the United States as of right now is the housing market. Because there is such a demand for housing that people just keep buying houses, even though things are crazy. And that's kind of keeping the banks afloat. So if people stop buying houses and the real estate market crashes, then I probably need to worry about my bank. But until that happens... I don't know. It seems like they're doing well. They're a worldwide bank. And honestly, I don't know if I'm going to keep the money out or just go redeposit it. I don't know. But I like to see things for myself. I don't take anyone's word, so I did my due diligence. Honestly, if that did happen here, if every single bank went under and nobody could get their money, I mean, just think about the chaos and the amount of people walking around with those things going, where's my money? I don't think they want that. Speaking of Senate hearings, I think we should watch this.
Madam Secretary, the President keeps saying he does not wish to have cuts in social. Is he aware that under current law, when the program goes broke in 9 years, that there will be a 24% benefit cut for those who are current recipients? Is he aware of that?
Well, it's clear that Social Security,
But is he, I apologize for interruption, but I have limited time. Is the president aware that when social goes broke in 9 years, under current law, there's a 24% cut in benefits for people who are currently receiving?
if we don't do anything about it, I think that's about right. But
Okay, let me
the
ask.
president wants to strengthen Social Security
In
and
the
make sure that doesn't
$4.5
happen.
trillion of taxes the president has proposed, are any of those taxes going to shore up Social Security? I actually know that answer. The answer is of the $4.5 trillion in taxes he has proposed, not a dime is going to shore up Social Security. Does the president know personally anybody who is dependent upon Social Security, and if their benefits are cut by 24%, they will slide into poverty? It's hard for you to know, so I'll give you a
Sure
pass
that
on
the
that.
president knows many people on Social Security.
Then why doesn't the president care?
He cares very deeply.
Then where is his plan?
He stands ready to work with
That's a
Congress
lie,
to address.
because when a bipartisan group of senators has repeatedly requested to meet with him about social, so that somebody who is a current beneficiary will not see her benefits cut by 24%, we have not heard anything on our request. And we've made multiple requests to meet with the president. Now, you can't comment on that, I realize that, but that is a fact. And if you've been told to say he stands ready to meet, I will tell you there's absolutely no evidence, because we have not gotten our meeting.
So I'm sure some of you have heard of Michael Burry. You know, he rightfully predicted 2008 housing crash with accuracy. And instead of, the government coming to him and being like, how did you know? Share your knowledge. So maybe we can prevent this in the future. Maybe because they didn't want to prevent it. And this doesn't just apply to the United States. You'll start to see that this is not just something that's happening here. This is happening all over the world. What they did is they harassed him. They made him here. Let's go watch.
I saw the crisis coming. Why did not the Fed? Never did any member of Congress, any member of government for that matter, reach out to me for an open collegial discussion on what went wrong or what could be done. Rather, within 2 weeks, all 6 of my defunct funds were audited. The Congressional Financial Crisis Inquiry Commission demanded all my emails and lists of people with whom I had conversed going back to 2003. And a little later, the FBI showed up. $1 million in legal and accounting costs and thousands of hours of time wasted, all because I asked questions.
Does that not seem a little crazy to you? We could keep doing this all day. Here, let's go watch another one.
Need to know, but I don't think you have much hope of reaching a public that doesn't have a professional need to know.
I completely agree with that. I almost think you'd scare the public if you put this out. Like, why are they telling me this? Should I be concerned about my bank? Like, my insurance company doesn't tell me what they're doing with my assets. They just assume they're going to pay my claim, right? I think you've got to think of the unintended consequences of taking a public that has more full faith and confidence in the banking system than maybe people in this room do. That we want them to have full faith and confidence in the banking system. They know the FDIC insurance is there. They know it works. They put their money in. They're going to get their money out. So there's a select crowd of people that are in the institutional side. And if they want to understand this, they're going to find a way to understand this. There's a bunch of law firms represented in this room. There's a bunch of people that charge them by the hour a lot of money to explain this all to them. And it's fine. I don't have a problem with that. And they all have huge staffs. But I would be careful about the unintended consequences of starting to blast too much of this out in the general public.
And there's the FDIC laughing like it's a joke. Let's keep going.
Inflation was transitory, and smarter people than them, namely Stan Druckenmiller and people like Stan, were all saying the exact opposite. So they got started late on the fight against inflation, and now, frankly, they act like the gang that can't shoot straight, because we should keep raising rates until we break it. Now, it's going to be some pain. Senator Warren, she talks out of both sides of her mouth. What she doesn't realize is the people who pay the most for inflation are the lower income people. Inflation is the most regressive of all taxes ever. We don't like paying higher prices, but we can afford to pay higher prices. Nothing changes in our life. But a family of four living from paycheck to paycheck has to start asking the questions, do I go with meat or do I go with a substitute? And on and on and on, because these people are really being impacted. There's no simple way to snap the back of inflation. The Fed needs to be more aggressive and needs to be determined to make it happen.
Wow.
My problem with the Fed overall is there's too many academics in the mix. I think if you had more business people involved or people with business backgrounds, I think you might see a different dialogue and different decisions.
So that was the former CEO of Home Depot. And, I heard him say that, he's like, I did so well under capitalism. And I get a Social Security check every single month for like $3,500. And he's like, I would never touch the money. Never. He's like, I'm not giving it back to the government. So I donate it. I donate it to cancer research and all these other things. And you hear him say, we need more businessmen making these decisions, not politicians. Not politicians. He says we need term limits. There should be term limits. And we just had a businessman as president, and things were good. Stock market was up. Everything was good. But then you have these people out there crying that we need equality. Where's the equality now? You wanted everyone to be screwed? That's what you wanted? You wanted the working class and the poor, us, to get completely screwed over? So now it's equal, so everybody has to suffer now. Good going. So you're not allowed to question anything anymore, it would appear. It's pretty crazy. I'm surprised that this is being allowed in the first place. We have the same issues, but we keep voting for the same people. How does that even happen? How do we keep voting for the same people and then complaining that nothing's changing? We had change. The last president we had change. And things were good. Things were good. But then they started all this crap. And you can see that they're trying to get him arrested. They're going after this. They're going after that. They're going after this. They're just trying to make him look bad. Because they fear him. They fear him. They truly do. They are scared crapless of this guy. Because they know that he's going to make them look bad, because it's going to be extremely easy to do. And even like on my YouTube channel, I just monetized it. There's this laundry list of rules that popped up. And a lot of them I understand, like no nudity. Man, I really wanted to show my beehole. No violence. You want to step outside? No cussing. But then at the very bottom it says, you're not allowed to talk about controversial issues. If you do, you'll get demonetized. Or your video will get demonetized, or you could get strikes, and then after so many strikes, then they just wipe your channel, which is crazy. And then I just got this big flashing alert at the top, and it was like, alert! You're not allowed to talk about the war at all. You can't talk about it on the channel. But stackers, fear not, there is good news.
And the dollar now will impact gold, I think, greatly, because it has been inversely correlated recently, especially. And I think that correlation, that inverse correlation, will continue, and I think gold will get a benefit from that. But silver will get more. As far as silver, ultimately, go back and look at gold from the early 70s to the present, so 50 years. There have been three major bull markets in gold, each of which produced either a 7-fold increase in price from bear market low to bull market peak, or an 8-fold move. Take, for example, the 1976 low just above 100. By 1980, it was 850. In 1999, early 2000, gold was at $250 an ounce, just above there, making a low. It went to 1920 with their 8-fold move. So it's had three moves. In the early 1970s, it was at $30 and went to 200. 1975. Okay, that was almost a 7-fold. So you've had three moves of that dimension in that 50-year period. So it's not like it's some rarity to say every 10, 15 years it generates an 8-fold. Okay, well, we certainly have the preconditions now for a monetary crisis. Therefore, a situation in which the world turns to a backed currency, turns to gold again. Who knows who will lead that? Maybe the Chinese will. I don't know. Somebody will come up with a gold-backed currency and the world will flock to it. But if gold merely had another 8-fold move, it would be $8,000. because its bear market low was 1,050 in 2015. Is that extraordinary? No, we've done it 3 times in the past 50 years, and the current conditions certainly could justify another one, right? Okay. If silver were merely 2% of the price of gold and it were $8,000, well, you do the math. It's off the page.
Did you hear that? Off the charts. Silver. That's what I like to hear. So let's talk about the current system in place. And this is my opinion, by the way. You know, I'm trying to keep, I try to keep politics out of it. I'm interested in the money. This stuff. Because everything kind of revolves around that, if you haven't noticed. So the current system that we have is like the system that a lot of other countries use. For instance, the Bank of Zimbabwe. And their bills went up to $100 trillion. And these are worthless. They actually have a little middle finger on it, because that's what you're getting. So our money is socialist. It's controlled by one person or entity, right? And we keep having these cycles of, you know, we have this big boom, and then we have this big bust. Then we have this big boom, then we have this big bust. And they like that. Think about why. And you'll notice how it's getting harder and harder and harder to become a homeowner. Because when the crash happens, and everything starts coming down, inflation starts rising, they start pulling from the money supply. Well, guess what happens? The poor, the middle class, are forced, especially the ones that haven't been living within their means, they're forced to start selling their assets, their house, their car, whatever. And the people that have money at that time, they swoop in and buy it up. And then everything goes back to normal, the rich make even more money, and then the process starts all over again. Everything starts crashing, the poor and the middle class start selling, the rich swoop in and they swoop it all up, and it repeats and repeats and repeats. If we keep doing this, the rich are going to own everything. So there's a few, I don't know if you guys follow Nasara at all, but Nasara basically believes that we would have to go back to a gold-backed currency. And honestly, like, let's just try to keep our mind on the money here. So we have, I'm just fascinated by the different countries, like bills too, you know, like euros they're so small. I've got 1,500 kroner. I don't know, don't ask me. I put them in these plastic things because especially this bill is starting to evaporate. Republic of Argentina. We've got East Caribbean. 20 Hong Kong dollars. Mucho dineros, Marty Cones. Obviously the Bank of Zimbabwe. And think about this, right? Like, if we go back in the video a bit, they were talking about the BRICS nations, possibly, maybe China, who knows? But a lot of people believe it's going to be the BRICS nations. It's going to be a bunch of countries that come together. And I'll explain why, and I'll show you. And it kind of makes sense. You know, so if these other countries were to go and back their currencies by gold, I know they don't use these bills anymore because it's a failed currency, but they might go back to these. So this is a moonshot play here. Moonshot. So I don't have a ton of money invested into it, but I wanted to go with at least one currency that was still being used. And I got 275,000 Iraqi dinars. And these bills are quite cool, actually. You can see they have like a little see-through window. I've seen that before with the Vietnam bills. They got the little hologram security stripe. There's a little horse head, like right in here if you shine a flashlight on it. It's got really cool like watermarks. It's quite a cool bill, man. But again, yeah. If they back their currency by gold, people are going to flock to it. And these could shoot up in value. And guess what that would do? That would dethrone, very quickly, the dollar's world reserve status. So now let's just go and what do you think would happen? Honestly, what do you think would happen if these countries did this? Do you think the United States would just do nothing? I mean, I know they don't want to do this, because if they do this, it's game over for them. It's game over. The game stops. But check this out. You know, if these other countries, I mean, let's say a bunch of them banded together, because this is the 50 countries with the most gold, and the United States is sitting in number 1 by a pretty big margin. 81,000 metric tons of gold. So, I mean, basically, if some of these other countries banded together and added all their gold up together and then came out with a currency and backed it, well, now you have some serious issues, right? But it would, I think, and this is my opinion, I think it would force the United States to come out with a new currency or use the same one, but probably a new currency. I would say that the current currency that we have has crap stains all over it and people don't like it. But I think they're going to do everything in their power not to come out with a currency that's backed by gold in the United States. They're going to try anything and everything, like CBDCs maybe, central bank digital currency. But if they did come up with a new currency and backed it by gold, I think this needs to happen across the world. I think every country needs to, all the money needs to be backed by gold, and I think people will be absolutely amazed at how poverty and all of that crap just goes away. It just works itself out because they can't manipulate and play with the money anymore. And we're not going to have these crazy booms and busts. You can go look at the charts, look up the DXY, go back to when our dollar was backed by gold, and you can see how extremely stable it was. We come off the gold standard and everything went to hell. Keeping politics aside, but now enter politics into the mix and see what side is doing what. And you'll see clearly that one side has a much better grasp on how money works. The other side just wants to spend, take. So it would appear that the silver apocalypse is upon us. This stuff is becoming kind of a pain to acquire. Usually I order from SD Bullion on a Monday, and I'll have it by Thursday in my hand, or Friday the latest. But not this go around. It was 2 weeks, full 2 weeks, before I even got a tracking number, and I still don't have the stuff. I don't know if it's going to be another 4 or 5 days. I have no idea, because the tracking number doesn't say anything yet. But, you know, this current little run-up that we've had in silver, I think that's from us common folk. Imagine when the big guys start slinging their money around, trying to buy up silver. So the reason I like SD Bullion's website, and it's nice now that I know that if you order over $1,000, you don't have to pay tax on it. But if you get under it, if you get $980 worth of stuff, then you're paying a whole bunch of tax on it. So just makes it worth doing it $1,000 at a time. But I had a personal goal in mind. I guess everybody's different, and it's whatever helps you sleep at night. But I had a goal of $5,000 in metals. That was my goal. And I wanted to do it before silver broke out of the current pattern that we're in, which looks like a bull flag. It looks like it's about to pop out to the upside. So I was waiting on funds, obviously, aka tax return. So I drove up to New Hampshire to visit Tim today, and essentially I went up there for silver, but he didn't have any 5-ounce bars, he didn't have any 10-ounce bars, he didn't have any kilos. He had this. He had Canadian Maple Leafs, and he had Eagles. And we're going to take a closer look at all of this stuff in the next video. This video is getting really long. But yeah, I grabbed some 2023 Canadian Maple Leafs, and I kid you not, the entire time I was there, the phone was ringing off the hook, and everybody was going, "Hey, do you have any Canadian Maple Leafs? You got any Canadian Maple Leafs?" It was like 4 or 5 people in a row. And he's like, "I have limited stock. So I get up to the counter, I'm like, "Yeah, I want some Canadian Maple Leafs. What can you spare?" And I see him, he goes over and he cuts open a fresh monster box. And he's like, "I have all of them sold, except for 2. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll take them both then. Because every time I go there, I'm waiting in line for like an hour and a half, and it's the drive. So I figure, might as well make it worth it. I probably overshot my $5,000 goal a little bit, but that's fine. But yeah, in the next video, we will take a closer look at all of this and update my oh crap stash. But yeah, anyways, make sure you subscribe. Throw me a thumbs up. See you later.